Today, we're going to talk about a fascinating topic, one that's also surrounded by myths: psychopathy. When we hear the word psychopath, the first image that usually comes to mind comes from movies or TV shows. Cold, calculating villains, often capable of manipulating everyone and everything around them. But does that really reflect reality? Are all psychopaths dangerous criminals, like Hollywood often portrays? Before we dive in, it's important to clarify something. Psychopathy is not a formal diagnosis in psychiatric manuals, like the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. In practice, the term is often associated with antisocial personality disorder, which is characterized by behaviors such as manipulation, impulsivity, lack of empathy, irresponsibility, and, in some cases, aggression. But here's the key: not every person with antisocial personality disorder is a psychopath. Many researchers argue that psychopathy is a specific subtype, with its own distinct traits. One of the leading experts on this topic is psychologist Robert Hare, creator of the famous Hare Psychopathy checklist, one of the most widely used tools in the world for identifying psychopathic traits. According to Hare, psychopathy involves two main sets of characteristics: antisocial behaviors, like breaking rules and exploiting others for personal gain. Personality traits, such as superficial charm, lack of remorse, and reduced empathy. To put it into perspective, imagine someone who can easily deceive others, manipulate situations to their advantage, and yet feel no guilt for harming someone. These are the kinds of traits we're talking about when we describe psychopathy. Now, you might be wondering, what actually happens in the brain of a person with psychopathic traits? Neuroscience has been investigating this more closely over the past decades, and researchers have found significant differences in three main regions: the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, and the reward system. Let's start with the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for essential functions like planning, decision-making, and impulse control. In people with psychopathic traits, this region may show reduced activity, making it harder for them to evaluate consequences before acting. In practical terms, a typical person might feel anger in a stressful situation but considers the risks and consequences before taking action. A person with psychopathy, however, may act impulsively because the brain brake doesn't function as efficiently. This also explains why psychopathic individuals often repeat harmful behaviors, even after punishment or negative consequences. They don't seem to learn from past mistakes in the way most people do. Another crucial region is the amygdala, which is responsible for processing emotions, especially fear, empathy, and effective responses. In psychopathic individuals, this area tends to be less active, which may explain their emotional coldness, difficulty feeling guilt, and reduced empathy. It's as if their brain has a lower emotional volume, making it harder to truly feel the impact of their actions, including the suffering of others. Studies even show that psychopaths can witness someone in pain without experiencing the typical emotional response most people would have. They perceive it cognitively but lack the emotional reaction. In addition, there are changes in the reward system, which drives motivation and the pursuit of pleasure. People with psychopathic traits often seek immediate gratification, intense experiences, and strong stimuli, even if it involves risks or negative consequences in the future. This explains why some psychopathic behaviors are impulsive and thrill-seeking. When we put it all together, reduced impulse control, low empathy, diminished fear, and a drive for intense rewards, we begin to understand why psychopathy is associated with impulsive behaviors, emotional coldness, and low sensitivity to punishment. But here's something important to note: psychopathy is a complex phenomenon. Not all psychopaths become criminals. Many live seemingly normal lives, and some even thrive in competitive environments like business, politics, or sales, where traits like charm, manipulation, and emotional detachment can be advantageous. Science still has many questions to answer. Researchers continue investigating. Should psychopathy be considered a separate diagnosis? Which brain areas are most affected? And how can we develop treatments that reduce harmful behaviors? So, the next time you watch a movie or series and see a psychopathic villain, remember, reality is much more complex than fiction. Not every psychopath is a cold-blooded killer, but all have unique neurological and behavioral differences that make them fascinating to study. If you enjoy content that explores the hidden side of the human mind, combining psychology, neuroscience, and real-world examples, subscribe to the channel. Here, we go deep into topics like this, explaining them clearly and with depth, using examples you won't find anywhere else. And now, I want to hear from you. Do you think psychopathy is more influenced by genetics or by the environment? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts.